Hello, welcome to Oye Cinema Club. My name's Dino, and today we'll be speaking about the 1984 film Purple Rain. Reason why I picked this is because we were having kind of a March Madness type uh, back and forth of genres and stuff like that. And one of the winners was movies nominated or that won Oscars on the year you were born. Well, Purple Rain won for music and song, and they even had a special one that was for best musical. Don't do that award anymore. But yeah, so I picked Purple Rain. I hadn't seen it before, but I didn't watch it by myself. So I won't be talking about it by myself because I'll be talking it with my pals, Steve Daz TV and Jason Eccles. All right.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
So let's talk a little bit about Mr. Purple Rain here. Steve Daz, first impressions of the movie?
Okay, okay. First impression. So this was actually my very first time watching this film. And what can I say? Uh Now that I've watched this film, I feel that I understand a lot of certain things about my past. For example, I have an ex-girlfriend that like quoted this movie repeatedly. And I had no idea until I actually watched this film and was like, oh, that makes sense. And also another thing about my past that made sense was I was a huge fan of like Chappelle's show. And there's a lot of things also that are quoted in Chappelle's show. Like bathe yourself in the waters of Minnetonka, like stuff like that. It was like a famous line in Chappelle's show. I remember it, and it's from this film. Um, I think watching it, I actually watched it twice. So I watched it yesterday and I watched it today. And watching it, I was just like, to me, it just felt like, in my opinion, if we are criticizing or reviewing this as an actual film, I would say based on, I guess, today's standards, I would have categorized this more like a big music video. That's how it felt to me than like an actual movie and stuff. And in my opinion, but that's just me, especially in the dramatic, I guess, part of the film, the acting was not strong, especially from Prince. But man, the performance of him on stage, that's it. Like that's the whole thing. Like he's just out of this world, incredible, unique talent when it comes to like live performance. And yeah, there were so many things about the film, especially watching it like 2 days in a row, that I was just questioning, going like, he's in this situation with this whole drama happening every time he goes to his house, and his family looks like regular people. Meanwhile, he's like dressed like a vampire. Like there's so many things that I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
we can get into that. We can get into that a little. Yeah, because I mean, he's driving that motorcycle, but living in the base. Yeah, yeah, we
yeah,
can.
the motorcycle,
There,
that's another
yeah,
thing. I was like, Batman,
we can get into the logistics in a
him
little bit.
disappearing in the beginning, like with the girl and picking in the back, and then she's like, "You perform really good." Oh, he's not there anymore. Anyway, first
Batman.
impressions. Enjoy the movie. First time watching it. Cool stuff.
Nice. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're right. Strong vampire vibes coming from this movie that I had never considered before. But it's funny you say that. I watched a I don't know what you call it, like it's like these little storytelling things that they animate. I saw it on Instagram and they're telling this story about Prince, and everybody kept saying like, "Oh, he's magical." Like Prince will be somewhere one moment, and then the next moment he'll just disappear. And it's like, and these guys are talking about these times that they've had these like interactions with him, and everybody saw it. There was like 25 people in the room, and we all saw him just disappear. It's like, so I don't know, maybe he was like a little bit of a magician or something. But this is my third time seeing this movie, and upon excuse me, upon my first impression, upon my first impression this go round, I was thinking a couple different new thoughts. The first one was is that uh, every time I see this movie, my appreciation for Prince has grown because during the in between times of me seeing this movie, I become more aware of his music. Like I've heard more of his music, and I become like more of a fan of him. His music and his musicianship. So every time I go into this movie, like I have like this greater appreciation for him every time. I'm like, man, this dude was like such a genius. He's just he's like the Beethoven of his day. Dude played 28 instruments, all self-taught and well. You know what I mean? And well. And it's like when you see him, I remember he did the Hall of Fame thing for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction thing, and he was one of the guest players. And they had all these guitarists on stage, like the best guitarists in the world, and he killed all of them to the point where they were just like, "What?" Like you could watch that probably on YouTube. It's like an 11-minute video, and Prince like closes it out, and his musicianship is some of the best guitaring I ever seen ever. So those were the thoughts that I had, and then the second big thought that I had was that yeah, the acting isn't that great coming from Prince, and I actually think even like Morris Day was a better actor than Prince in this movie. Um, and there's some things about Prince, like I don't know if it was necessarily in the script, but there's some things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about his character choices. Like he's very arrogant and childish in this movie. He's like a brat, and I don't really care for that. I guess I never really cared for that before. So those that kind of stuck out to me. And then the other big thing, the major thing that stuck out to me is like this is probably one of the greatest soundtracks of any movie I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just from top to, I mean, this is obviously a great album, but it is a movie soundtrack, and from top to bottom, every single one of these songs is killer. Um, Excuse me, I don't know if I ever even considered that before. Sorry, I had some soda, so I'm burpy. I had never even really considered like how good. I knew the music was good. I know the soundtrack is incredible. I know this is like a top album, but I guess before we watched this movie, one of you had told us, or I guess maybe it was you, Dean, who said like, "Oh, this thing was nominated where it won best song and maybe best score at the Oscars or something." Um, and so I guess maybe I was like really attuned to that this time around or conscious of it. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
like this is a terribly good score. Um, so yeah, those were my first impressions, but we can get into more.
Nice. Yeah, first time for me, I thought maybe I had seen a little bit more of it. But no, I just remember I know a lot of people that Purple Rain's their like favorite album and Prince is their favorite artist and stuff like that. So I knew that going into it. I also think it's watching it. It's so conscious. I mean, his shirt and everything. Oh, first off, I mean, I think the first note that I wrote was just what a vibe. The whole time I'm just like, what a vibe this movie. And by the vibe alone, it's like it's a great film by the vibe. Like anything else, we'll get into the writing and the acting and all that, but so much going on for the film. Uh, it's interesting. There's a whole generation of people now, and I'm a little bit on the cusp for sure. Also, growing up in another country, not really knowing Prince, but that knows of Prince more about from the Chappelle Show, uh,
Yeah.
those sketches. And then when you watch things like this and like interviews and other things about Prince, it's like, damn, I guess the Chappelle show kind of is correct in a certain extent. And then also Morris Day, when I saw him, I'm like, is that Morris Day at the time? Like I had no idea. And I'm like, shit, it is. And then I'm like, wait, my reference of Morris Day in the time that I know is because of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's
So
hilarious.
basically, like the two biggest stars from this movie are like huge Chappelle reference and Jay and Silent Bob. So like stoner uh, kind of medium, which I just found super interesting. Of like because I Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I that's one I quote all the time. I do want to hear what if there are any of the quotes that your ex girlfriend like. What exactly was it that first popped in your head when watching the movie, Steve? Um, Performance wise, yeah, was amazing. The choreography and all that. Yeah. Okay. So I enjoyed the film. As soon as the movie ended, I looked up Prince doing the Super Bowl halftime show, which is also a vibe. As elaborate as everything is now, it's basically him just playing the guitar, with a couple dancers, and there's like a marching band, and that's it. Like
And it
nothing.
started to
And
rain, right?
oh, it feels like it was torrential rain. It was in Miami. And like they're like
Great.
some of the camera shots you can't really see because it's all wet, it's all droplets. And then yeah, other angles you can see how hard the rain is falling, and it's like bouncing off the stage and all that. So that's what I did as soon as the movie ended. I was like, let me check out this Prince Super Bowl halftime because I've seen clips of that as well. So yeah, so enjoy. It's an experience, and rightly so. Like they've like included this film now in whatever registrar of like American films, cultural this and all that. The outfit that he was wearing when he received the Oscar for Best Musical, that's also been put up in a museum. Like it's amazing how much Prince, is culturally responsible for and it's weird because yeah, if you start actually paying attention to the film and whether the acting or the story, it makes no sense. Like interesting enough, you say Morris Day acted better than him. I was reading up about it. Morris Day was apparently like huge into drugs at the moment, and they had to like drag him out
Oh my
to
God.
get him on set and stuff like that. So this whole thing is wild. So, uh, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the more logistical parts of it because I think we all, I think, enjoyed the film. So, I'll start like script wise or whatever. He's called the kid. He's the same age as Morris Day and Apollonia. Like they're all like 1 year difference. And then he was living in the basement when we first see the parents, I just thought it was going to be like him and Morris Day are established singers at this venue. She comes into town and she's trying to hustle and she's just living out of a hotel. And then you find out like he's living with his parents. What age is him? Because to me, it feels like this movie, the script, and sometimes the way that Prince acts, which is a thing that Michael Jackson had a little bit as well. Like these pop stars, these, you know, are very childish. They like pranks, they like pulling pranks. And then what age are they? It's almost like they're stuck, they're lost in their kid. And because I was trying to figure out, is he supposed to be 18? Is he because he was 26 when he won when the movie came out,
So
which isn't
25 when they filmed it.
right. So, but for the character, I'm trying to figure out like, is he supposed to be in his teens? Is it like John Travolta was also thought about to doing it, which I imagine because of Staying Alive and all that, whatever, that it's that kind of film, someone living with their parents and trying to make it. But it just felt like he had already made it, but they didn't. Anyway, so it felt to me like the script, the story, everything could have been written by like a 12 to 14-year-old kid, boy, or even a girl that's
So
writing this fanfic.
So here's where I think, because while you guys were talking about your first impressions, like that's when I started thinking about logistically how this film got even made. And it's like just like an artist would do, like this was album first. So he just knew he had this fire that was gonna come out. And it was like, oh, what about if we release this music alongside a film? Because like if you really pay attention to the film, and this is me just watching it 2 days in a row, like the best scenes, literally the best scenes is when Prince is performing. Everything is well lit, everything is like perfect. It's like the best shots are like when he's performing. The rest, so so. And there's a lot of holes in that story, man. Like, how did he get these costumes? How did he get this motorcycle? Like,
One of my favorite things is they have a scene of him going up to the motorcycle and taking the lock off. Like, this is a movie, and I'm like, oh, this is super legit. They're showing how dirty and dangerous the alleyways are because he's got a lock on his motorcycle wheel. But I was like, no movie, especially like music video esque movie, does that. But this was an actual script, though. So it's a combination because I was looking into it as well before we got on, and it was a script, and it was offered to a bunch of different people, and I forget how he got into it, but like the story was definitely there. That's why it's credited with like two writers. I think the person from the original, and then the director also became a writer and said that maybe like three scenes were left from the original script. But like the relationship of the dad mother was there, which apparently in the original script it's murder suicide. That it's supposed to be accidental murder, from like fighting and then suicide, the dad. But apparently Warner Brothers had already released another film that same year that also dealt with murder suicide, and they're like, we don't want to have our movies all deal with that, which is just a weird thing of like, how many movies are you putting out that deal with murder suicide? And also, who would think of like again a music video have to do with that? Um, so yeah, it's
I
script
had
is
never considered how this was actually the first time, when he starts having like those suicidal thoughts and whatnot. This is the first time I like, oh man, this movie is actually dealing with like some mental health issues and stuff like
right,
that. They're going there, and I don't know why I'd never picked up on that before. But I guess, you see something, and
right.
I wasn't as distracted because I knew what was coming. But I was like, oh wow, like I didn't realize he was like having like this, because that's a very strong scene where like he's
Right.
like looking at the rope and then he sees himself hanging from the ceiling, and it's like, wow, like this dude's really going through it. His dad just almost killed himself, and he's like feeling, whatever he's feeling. So like it does go there and it kind of does deal with that. And I mean, he overcomes it at the end. I feel like a movie today would spend a little bit more time, maybe like showing how he overcome these mental health battles or whatever. But
Well, that's
yeah,
I
I thought
think
that was pretty deep.
we were talking about that. It kind of didn't add up because he looks so well put. He looks
Mhm.
so amazing, and I mean they all do. I mean their style of clothing, those like the shoulder pads, and like their outfits, like
Yeah.
it's immaculate. But that
He
yeah,
doesn't feel like he's going through it, you're right, after the suicide, but the performances go through it.
right. And yeah, but any of the acting stuff, because then I also saw that apparently where the dad is playing the piano and he says, "Oh, it's my music" or whatever. That it was actually Prince playing the piano, and that was Prince's dad's music is what he was playing. So I guess
Oh, wow.
Prince's dad had written some music as well or
I
whatever.
really like that tune that his dad was playing. I thought it was really
Yeah.
pretty.
So I mean, yeah, I remember of when I wrote like something when I was like 12, and we shot this little video, and it had to do with like uh, uh, um, what is it, like pretending like the father is beating the son or something like that. I did a video with my brother and his friends and all that, and I turned it in as a project, and then I just mysteriously disappeared, or the teacher forgot it at his house. And all of these years back, I'm like, oh no, they're not going to show this kid doing basically a dad beating up the kid, and then we had like ketchup, like, and the kids just like on the floor. I forget what it was, what was the project, but I did this full on video, and I'm like, it feels like the level that I had as a 12-year-old or 14-year-old doing this like shitty ass VHS camcorder edit is what the story beats of this film were, acting wise as well.
Maybe he's called the kid because he's really a brat and immature. Maybe that's why they call him the kid.
Yeah. I couldn't tell. I mean, like he could easily. This at times it felt like he was 17. At times, like
He didn't take anything serious when those girls are coming to him like, "Hey, what about our music?" He pulls out his ventriloquist act.
so. Do you know that apparently this is huge? The two girls in his band, they are a couple, or they were a couple. There was a scene of them kissing, got taken out of the movie, which is a weird thing to take out of a movie, you know, because of like you have the girl getting naked and jumping in, right, and all that, and then I'm like, man, no intimacy coordinator back then, because there's that
Well,
one
they
like,
had a whole scene that Prince was fingering the girl.
yeah, I was like, whoa, and then I saw that apparently, supposedly they filmed three different sex scenes, a G-rated, a PG-rated, and a R-rated, and that apparently that's the R-rated one that got left in. But that I'm just like, how does that? Now I'm like, I want to see the G-rated of that. If that's, but so
Yeah, I
the
had never
girl,
noticed that before either until this time. I'm like, wow, like I don't think I haven't seen that in very many movies.
I know, so, but yeah, so the girls' treatment of women in this film not very good, which is weird in so
I
many
mean, that's a
different
part of
levels.
the story, though.
But yeah, so the girls in his band, they were a couple. They, I guess, were cut out of the movie. They were kissing in the movie, and that got taken out. And then apparently, it's a famous story that they were having issues with Prince and the band, and finished the tour. And then Prince invited them to dinner at his house, and then they came to dinner to his house, and he fired them. And that I'm like, yeah, reading it now, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Just from everything else that I've heard of him or seen of him, from his perspective and other perspective, that is totally a thing that I can see Prince doing. Like, let's have dinner, come over to my house, let's talk, and yeah, okay, you're you're fired.
Did they get back
Um,
together, or was this like at the end of all their touring and stuff?
This is after the touring. So supposedly they were gonna quit or something during the show, and he like convinced them to stick around. But as soon as the tour ended, then that's when he kind of did that or whatever.
So there's
Um,
a video, very special video, and I don't know if it's easy to find anymore, but they released it like during the first or second week of the pandemic. It was it was a video, like a 2.5 hour video of Prince performing in the Revolution on tour in 1985, and it was
okay.
so good. And so they just put it on YouTube for everybody to watch. And it was only supposed to be on YouTube, I think, for like a week, and then they kept it up for like 3 weeks because I guess it was getting more views than they had anticipated. Like, just keep it up, or the pandemic's still going on. Keep it up. I don't know if it's still on there or if it's easy to find, but uh, Prince didn't really want his material out there like that. So it's not easy to find like his
Well,
performances and
yeah,
stuff.
that's I think a whole issue then with the whole Warner Brothers stuff, right? And why he ended up being the artist formerly known as Prince, right?
Mhm.
All that kind of stuff that went with Warner Brothers, which in itself, apparently, this is one of the most profitable films, I think, for Warner Brothers because it was almost every department benefited from this film, right? Their music department because of the album sales, film department because theater, then VHS. You know, like every single department, kind of like Prince. You know, what is it? Rising tide floats all boat. Right? You know, whatever it is. Like, man, Prince made all Warner Brothers money. Okay, we were talking about Prince and his thing. Acting wise, character wise, can we go into that real quick? Because I got to talk about it. I mean, Morris Day is up there. My favorite character, Jerome. That guy had, they were like mean mugging, doing bits. He goes, picks up a lady, throws her in the dumpster. It's like, what?
That
Like,
was wild. That was
and then they become Abbott Costello. They do a whole bit, the whole bit of who's on first, but
Yep.
it's they
What?
did who's on first, and I'm like, why have we never seen this being brought up in comedy? Of like when they bring up Abbott and Costello and other comedy duos or people that try to do that kind of bit, and how it's been replicated in modern culture and different versions of it. Have I never seen that in freaking Purple Rain? They do a whole bit about, well, password what and what exactly
And
what.
they do it. You're right. Jerome and Morris Day, they pull it off, and you're right. It's rarely ever referenced. I never thought about
and
that.
and not only do they pull it off just in that, then they actually bring it back to it. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
that's just do. It could have just been that one bit of them setting it up, but no. The very next night, where they're at the club and he's talking to the girls, then Jerome just comes up and he's just like, "What?
Hmm.
What?" And
The
then
girl
all
they
they
put
have
in the
to do,
trash, she's a groupie, right?
huh?
The girl that he puts in the trash, that's a groupie, right?
Yeah, that's a groupie as well. But yeah, just the whole what bit ends up literally just having to be like, like look over there. So like like it was just
Right.
complete silliness. But Jerome, like the window doesn't come down all the way, so Jerome has to like tap on the glass for it to like he brings out the mirror, like the level of just ridiculousness, which is why I was also like, this is a vibe, is
Yeah.
amazing. And so yeah, Jerome I put as my favorite. If there were more scenes of the manager, I think it would be Merlin or Marvin or whatever his name is. He might be up there, but I don't think he had it. Just his style, I think I also like. But yeah, Jerome was on something. Do you guys have? Because Prince is doing Prince things, but these other people I had never really seen or heard of before, or knew enough to really be like, they could be in other movies. They could be in other little comedies and Richard Pryor films or some other like smaller bits and have done great. But they're musicians, and I guess Morris Day and Prince used to be in a band together also back in the day. Before
I
that's how they met.
I gotta say, me personally, I gotta say Morris Day. It's just like the dude has he had like for at least for like acting and the screen and to be like a comedy guy,
Yeah,
he has it. Like the face he makes is like funny. And
the mustache.
that's why also this film is kind of because like to a great film typically, especially when you're talking about like hero, needs a good villain. And for
Yeah,
Morris to be the villain, it's hard to hate him or to
yeah.
put him like he's evil or something. Because
They're both equally as bad to
yeah, 'cause,
me.
like that's the other thing. It's like you can blame him because like whatever he has a lot of girlfriends or whatever, and he treats women the way he treats women. But like other people in this film are treating women, bad or
Prince
or
slapped the girl more than once, right?
And his daddy.
and
So
also he slapped her for like something so stupid. He's like, well, he she
after
did,
after after she gave him a guitar, after she pawned her bracelet or necklace to buy him this guitar, And then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna join the band," which also I'm like, "Girl, this is not the way how you bring things up." You
What the?
know, like why even say that you're going with Morris Day? Like you're mixed message. Everyone was like mixed messages everywhere, but it's like here I just pawned my possession. Here's a guitar. Oh, I'm going to be in this other person's band. Like what? That's again script stuff, but as
I mean,
yeah,
that it's all very that whole thing is all very wild because it's like you came from New Orleans with, I feel like New Orleans is like, a music place
yeah,
to Minneapolis because
I
of these
know.
like one clubs. I mean, granted, like these guys are killing it in
Man,
Minneapolis
if
for
that's what
sure.
that club like you and it's like, oh, three bands, they're four. I only got room for three. I'm like, like if you don't start doing something, I'm gonna have to let you go. I can't have more than three bands. I'm
I mean,
like,
but they did say the last three bands that played there all made it big. They like all got,
yeah,
famous or whatever.
I guess.
So, obviously it's a big deal to be on his ticket. Like he's putting on good acts. To that point, to that point, both of your points, Morris Day and Prince, it's like Bird Magic, Michigan, Ohio State, Batman
Ala-
Joker,
Alabama, the world.
Prince and the Revolution versus Morris Day and the Time. It's that big, I think. Yeah, Alabama and the world. Uh, um, I think I like the club promoter guy, not just because he wore a Detroit baseball cap, but that helps. He also kind of feels like a Detroit guy. I didn't look him up. I didn't look up his bio, but he kind of feels like a 1980 Detroit guy. It's like, yeah, of course, the 1980 Detroit guy would own the nightclub, and he's calling all the shots because it just feels like it. It just feels like he felt like a Detroit dude. So the fact that he's wearing that cap, I was like, yeah, that checks out. He's trying to be a boss. And I guess he was a boss. He was calling the shots. It was his nightclub, and everybody sort of had to answer to him. Uh, yeah, I like it. I, Dino's right when he says this movie is a vibe. I do feel like this movie is very much a vibe. The tone is so strong in it. Like it's a time capsule from it because it's like the mid '80s, and this movie is like it's never really mentioned as an '80s movie either, is it? It's not. It's never up there like when people talk about '80s movies. But this thing was huge. Like I saw that it made like $70 million on like what a $7 million budget, and then like the soundtrack probably went crazy, you know. And then it won Oscars. And like no one ever just kind of wedges it in there as like a quintessential '80s movie. But I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just seen as Purple Rain, kind of like Prince is one of one. I mean, you just hear Purple Rain, just hear like to me, it's like yeah. I was like, when did this movie come out? Like I had to I had to look up the Oscars and year I was born, and then all this other stuff, and I was like, oh wow, okay. But it's on Prince is on his own island, right? You have those performers that are just doing their own thing and are on their own pedestal that doesn't matter what time. Like I feel like this movie could have come out in the '90s if it was still Prince, right? And it would still make sense. Or maybe 2000 is a little much, but it would still be this kind of style of film, right? It
But the
wouldn't,
only thing that really makes this thing great is the music and like the iconoism of
yeah.
Prince, right? We got to
With
talk about
MB,
the fashion. We got to talk about the wardrobe department as well.
yeah, which oh man, which this is like this is a movie with like sketches in between, is what it also feels like, right? Um, like what's with all the damn dolls is one thing, because
I thought about that too. This is
Steve
probably the
has
second time I thought about that.
all those stuffed animals next to him. I'm like, I'm hoping you put those out because we just watched this and he had a bunch of those around, or is that just what you have on your couch all the time, Steve?
I'm a ventriloquist.
The other thing, okay, let's talk about some before we get into costumes. And because I don't want to forget. You said your ex would quote this movie a lot. What are some? I wrote a couple lines. I put because we talked about the password and you know what, but your lips would make a lollipop too happy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Really?
Yeah.
And then the other one is hey, pew, 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 pew. And then the final one, well, not the final one, but then he's like trying to talk up the girl and say like he has a brass waterbed, which I'm like that.
Bro, that was another thing that I was flipping about, especially the second time I was watching it. I was just like, he is doing like not only he's being very direct, but he's doing everything in his power to be like, I want you to see my house. I want you to
Yeah,
see my bed. Like,
it's like you want to Netflix and chill. I got a brass waterbed. I got that. Like it's like,
He's just
bro,
not as cool as Prince. I think that's what that whole thing illustrates. He was so like thirsty, he was so like desperate, like to get her over to his house. And Prince is like riding off on her on a motorcycle, like kind of like smushing her face in mud a little bit. And she like, I can't get enough of this guy.
all right. Well, we have a new member with us that joined. Um, so, how about first opinion, Marina of
Yeah,
Purple Rain?
got my Apollonia hair
I
already.
was gonna say you got a very nice glow going to you, and I was gonna mention Apollonia. So yeah,
Yeah, so not my first time watching it. I missed if it was just real quick. Was it everybody's first? No, yes, no.
yes. The
My
only one who
third.
saw it more was Jason had seen it before.
Okay, yeah, I definitely had seen this before. Maybe once when I was like a kid and I wasn't supposed to watch it, and then maybe I rewatched like in my early adult life. It was just yeah, it was pretty cool. Like seeing someone be the beauty standard that had like similar hair and stuff as mine. I'm so used to being like straight haired girls like in all the movies. So it was kind of cool to see like to see that movie as a child and even just rewatching it. It was really cool to see all that again. Um I really like Prince a lot. So yeah, this is always like a good one. It's some corny stuff. The older I get, the more I'm like, oh man, like there's so many things so wrong with how they treated women in this time frame. But it's still a cute story and just another thing I think like watching as an adult, like the trauma of like the family bond, definitely. And I don't know why it hit me really hard. I think because like this might be the first time watching it since I have a child and just like really, really make you take a step back how you really have to like work so hard not to like repeat those cycles and things. So I don't know. It just really I got kind of emotional this time around, like when you see how much it impacted him in his life, what he went through at home. But still first impression this time is yeah, still a good movie.
Right on.
Cool, cool. Well, yeah. So, were there other lines, Steve? I'm gonna go back to that, or no? Did you have favorite lines? I would just want to mention also, not necessarily a favorite line, but wild to hear that Prince called Purple stupid, the Purple Rain, right? Because he hears the cassette and then he tells the bandmates like, your song is stupid. And I'm like, did Prince just call Purple Rain stupid? Because I think he might be completely wrong on that.
Are
But yeah,
those are the last two songs? Are those the songs of the girls?
I'm not sure if he did like they did more than that. I think it was most
yeah,
of his work and they just wrote
yeah.
that one. But I think like I mean,
No,
I
no. I mean, like for the sake of the film. I don't. I'm like
I
those
don't
were
think
their songs at the end, right?
I
I thought
don't
just the Purple Rain was theirs, but maybe he opened it up more.
Just remember when he comes to rehearsal late and they're like kind of working on a tune? That is Purple Rain that they're working on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in
Okay,
the
right.
cassette, a few times they tease it in the movie that playing the cassette, and it's the start of the of Purple Rain. You know.
No. I'm thinking like maybe he just performed better once he like opened up, cuz like it was like because I feel like the whole thing is the crowd didn't like his music, but technically that was his music in the end. But I do, yeah, that one song I believe is he's saying they wrote it. But I think the other two were probably something he did before, but maybe he just performed it like more connected now that he's being a team player and like the
More connected because he had like gone through some serious stuff. Like his dad almost killed himself in front of him, and his mom, and you know, and then the girl, had like broke up with him. So like those last two songs at the end was like about those three situations. And then she walks out on him like in the middle of his performance, and he kind of like loses it, but he like channels it into the performance. So then the crowd connects to everything he's doing all of a sudden. Like he's like on another level.
Marina, what I'm curious, what did you think about the wardrobe? Uh, did you think and also the motorcycle uh in comparison to like how he lived with his parents, you know?
I know. It's
We
funny.
haven't gotten on this, by the way. So this is like a new
Yeah.
topic, Marina.
Yeah.
So first of all, like, I think this was like the first time that I was realizing like he's playing Prince, and Morris Day is playing Morris Day, Apollonia is playing Apollonia. Like I don't know why it never hit me. I thought it was just a movie about a celebrity playing a different celebrity kind of thing, but I didn't realize like he's actually playing himself till this time around. And I feel like that was his fashion. Like I feel like he was one of the first like metrosexual, supposedly straight men, so like his wardrobe was always kind of different. It gave me like so I thought it was kind of crazy. I'm not into guys that dress like that, but I understand it's just so crazy how like how women like were so in love with Prince and like in his style, and like I was always going, but now it's just like I appreciate it as like a rock star. Like it's definitely. Didn't we watch the biopic for that other artist that has like similar style to me? Like what was that one we watched? I think Andre 3000 played him.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, like definitely gives me like that same like fashion sense. And yeah, and then like this time around, and again, maybe it's getting older, it was kind of weird that he was living with his parents, but like can afford like these things, but then he's too broke to buy the guitar, but he's playing at the hottest club in town. And it's just like, it was just like a lot of mixed information on what his status was and how old are they playing? Like, is he like a high schooler that's doing well with his band? Or is this a grown man? Like, I just, yeah, this is the first
The
time I
the
actually was like, huh?
yeah, because the actress that plays the mother is only 13 years older than him.
Oh, wow.
And also, the only people not using their real names are the actor and actress that played his parents. Everyone else, it's their actual names.
Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe he
Okay, well,
wanted to time capsule a time. I don't know how this paralleled to his family or not, but
so it's funny that you said that because Dino and Steve had the same sentiment. And I didn't really have that sentiment about their age. Like I was curious how old he was, but I never thought like, oh, he's like 18 or whatever.
He's the
Because like he's a 25-year-old living in his parents' basements. You guys act like that's strange. Like, you know how many 25-year-olds live in their parents' basement? Like it's not.
Okay, you know what it is? Maybe because it's freaking Prince, and he's on that motorcycle, and he's got multiple guitars, and he
Okay,
looks
wait a minute, hold on.
fabulous. He
Do you know
looks
how many you know how many
fabulous.
guys you know how many guys live with their parents and drive dope cars? And the
yeah,
reason they drive that
yes, financially speaking, that's the way we should do it, right? Live with your parents as long as you can, and save. But I don't know. I just think that it doesn't align with how much of a rock star he is, and then like and it just doesn't doesn't feel like he would even be 25. Did they say 25? Because like
No, we just
I
know
don't
time wise, that's when they filmed the movie. He was 25 when they shot it.
gotcha. I just yeah, it's tough. Like it just maybe just the writing was a little loose there, and maybe it was just super important for
Also,
them
to be
to tell their
fair,
parents.
to be fair, everybody in the 80s looks like they're like 40 something. You know,
I know, right? I was like, wait, how old? And then I was like, and how old was he when he passed away? And I'm like, wait, like again, Prince is just like in that other stratosphere. We're like seeing this. I'm like, no, he never lived with his parents. Like Prince just appeared as Prince. Like
Like
I,
a vampire. He's just always been.
I just this whole other story. I'm like, what
he
is
stands, he
this?
stands behind you, and when you turn around, he disappears.
Did anybody
I
look
don't know why you guys are having such a problem with it. Like he's a rock star in Minneapolis. He's not in like LA. He's not a world rock. He's a local rock star.
But
maybe just because it's the only story you've ever seen like that. Everyone else is
yeah,
like living 6 people deep in an apartment. Like I don't know. Like you don't see this. Did anybody look up if it's like lightly based on his story? I don't know if what happened
no,
there.
I
I
don't. I
think
don't.
Prince grew up Jehovah's Witness, which always
Yeah,
kind of or something. Maybe he
He
dated
did.
someone that was
It's
or
Jehovah's
whatever.
Witness.
So it's always interesting to me when there's that dynamic if there was like the abuse in the home, like and just like yeah, it's so interesting how a lot of abusers like hide behind that religion
yeah.
because they get enabled. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta look that up. I didn't have a chance to, but
Well, you know what I think it is. Not to harp too much because it's not a huge thing. It's more of a kind of silly thing of that. But it's the I think just the idea we don't see him in his house or with a relationship with his parents like during the day or lunch or whatever. It's just in those moments, right? And that's just what's a little bizarre because there's no like frame of reference then of like the money thing or the work or what you're doing during the day other than riding your bike and like having a man she quickly jumped into that lake as like that's one of the funniest shit ever of like before I jump in like tell me what other things I have to do. I'm not just gonna jump in the lake and then tell me what the next thing I have to do is before you help me, right? But other than that, we didn't see them interact during the day, so that's why it's weird of what the relationship like does. Because then I was like, does he live there? Does he live in the city? But he goes there to visit because it's a suburb. I all his band members, like everyone, just seems so already established, right? And I guess that was what I was thinking, right?
yeah, that's true. Like I that's another thing. Like everyone in the situation just seemed like, yeah, like they're on a level where they'd have their own place and they're just like, yeah, it was different because there's another part of it where it's like the bar scene. So yeah, like yeah, and I think I was just mostly weirded out because yeah, like I'm older. So when I'm now that I'm older, you would think I would think of it differently, but I'm like, man, they still feel older than me watching this movie, and he's living at home. Like, I don't know why that never connected before. Maybe when I watched it when I was younger, I thought the same thing as Dino. Like maybe he doesn't live there. Maybe he just checks in because he knows his mom's not getting treated properly. But this was the first time it really grasped me. Like this is where this guy lives, and that's why he wanted to go over to her house and stuff. Like he wanted, yeah.
But she did. They end up going back to his place, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Right.
because she's living in the hotel, right? So
Yeah, she
she
just got
doesn't
the town.
she doesn't want to come off as I'm a whore living in a hotel room,
Mhm.
day
You
by
think
day.
that's what it was? Or she was just like,
Yeah,
I'm embarrassed that I live in a hotel. You can't come over here. This is a hotel
that
room.
she
It's a
was
mess.
embarrassed. She didn't want to. She's embarrassed. She doesn't want
Well,
him
one of
to.
the first scenes is she ditching a cab
Yeah,
because she couldn't pay it. Or,
Oh, wow.
37.73 or something like that.
which I
I was
mean,
like,
adjusted to inflation, that's like $2.8 million.
I know, right? I was like, damn, that's a big cab fare.
Yeah, she took it all the way from New Orleans.
Yeah, like she couldn't have hopped on the bus. It's like I guess yeah, there's a lot of stuff I didn't notice. I didn't notice that like it was such a slick way butterfly effect how she got into the club. Like at that weird group of people weren't having a fight, she wouldn't have got in. You know?
I like that though, because it's like it just shows that she was resourceful and ambitious, and she like, I have to get in. I got to make this happen. I'm here. I don't have a place to live. I have a dream. This is the club. So she also comes off as the kind of person she was going to hang out around that club all night until she found a way in, you know,
It,
and then she's going
it,
to come back the next night and the next night until she got in.
it almost feels like there are three different movies that are trying to come out of this. Because you would think she should be the lead. Like, she comes to the city, even though, again, she's coming from New Orleans, but she's coming to a new city to try to make it, right? Like, that's your typical story, the ingenue or whatever. Like, I'm coming into town. I don't have the money. I don't have the work. I'm gonna, you know, show them what I have, and I'm gonna, like, break myself into the biz and just gonna pretend to be like, oh, I got a meeting with your manager. And I was like, no, my manager doesn't take meetings or whatever. But then, like, she, like, pushes one of the bartenders and breaks the glasses. And then it's like, oh, yeah, you know, I got a meeting with the manager. Tell them, oh, are you sure? Yeah. And I can sing too if you need that. And I can do, I'm like, what is this, Coyote Ugly all of a sudden? Like, I feel like she had, like, it's almost like the movie was for that character. But then when Prince signed on, they're like, all right, we got to fit in Prince. So let's just put Prince in Prince. And we'll keep that character as the side piece, you know, especially when you have Morris Day, like them fighting over her. Like, she's the conflict, right? Like, these two assholes basically are trying to win her. And is it win her because they like her, or just win her because they don't want the other person to be with her? Because that's what it seemed like to me, was that, oh, he's interested a little bit in her. No, I gotta take her now. You know, like, all of a sudden he's on stage singing like, I want to marry you. And I'm like, where did this come from? You've been you've been messing with her this whole time, like, and make her do all this stupid shit. And now you're talking about marriage? Ay, ay, ay.
Wait, who was talking about marrying her?
In the song on stage,
Oh, okay,
Prince,
right.
the one of the lyrics is about marriage and stuff.
I thought the
But
lyric was that she was masturbating in a hotel room or something.
that's a
Talking about
different one.
darling Nikki.
But yeah, so, like, he changes the lyrics, or I don't know if changes, but it's like it seems like he's coming up with the lyrics while he's on stage, because he sees that she's having champagne with Morris, and so he is, like, reacting in real time to her. Is what at least that's how I took it, was that he would get more emotional when he would be on stage thinking about her or seeing what was out there, and singing his emotions instead of being able to just tell her those things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about I don't think the song changed per se, but definitely like the emotion behind the song. He's directing it at her at that point, and she's like in
Right.
tears. I actually really like that scene. I never really had like an emotional response to that scene before, but like that's the scene where it's like, oh, he loves her, and he's jealous, obviously. But then when she's crying, when she starts to tear up at him directing all this like emotion to her, she becomes emotional, and I was like, oh man, she like really loves him. Like she's like going through it, watching him go through it over her. She's just trying to make her way. She's just trying to do like the best that she can for herself because he's not committed to like helping her or her career or what she needs. You know, and Morris Day is, and she's like, I'm just trying to get in where I fit in, even though I'm in love with this jerk over here.
Yeah, this time around, her emotional responses all throughout the movie stood out more to me. I guess I never really noticed it before. Like, obviously, when the stakes were high, like when she's like clearly upset, but even from the jump, like I feel like the first time she sees him perform, like she gets so zoned in. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily like love at first sight or just like loving that someone is just as passionate about something that you love as you. Like, I kind of focused on her more because like yeah, she has a standout character, but, like, I think the first time I ever watched it, I was curious about his life and things, and she's the pretty girl, but this time I definitely was connected with her character more and understood her emotions more.
Yeah.
Um,
Hold on.
all right. Doo-doo-doo. Um,
Are we
Well,
going to
Maria,
talk about these
before,
wardrobes?
before Dino finishes thinking what he's thinking, Marina, do you have a favorite character? Since we all said one.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely Prince's character. I don't know what you guys said, but I did like
Jerome.
I just I don't know. I just love him from start to finish. Um, Performer him, son him, partner him, even in his darkness, like it's it was really tough when he slapped her. Um, but it was just like he definitely again, I don't know if this is slightly based on anything or he was acting a character out, but like he just did a really good job embodying someone that would be going through this. Um, Everything that he's going through. And I like the turning point. I like how he realizes in the end what's important and how doesn't he can't do that because like even in his performance like that guy was saying just like your father he was allowing that destruction into his life and you think you run away from things you have to be so conscious of the fact that you take on the habits of people that have been mean to you or should have been there for you and so I like the entire 180 that he does um and yeah it stands out and it's always been that way and even though I said like I saw other characters more this time around. He's still my favorite character.
I don't maybe because I've only seen this once, but I get all those points. But it is just so silly to me because when he's such a great performer, Prince is, and it's so choreographed perfectly, like him and the bands and everything. But when he's delivering lines, not as a performer, and the one where I almost lost it, and again, I really enjoyed this film, right? As silly as it is, I was actually shocked that it's got like 6.5 on IMDb. Like, it's not great, but how could you go lower than 8? I feel like, because it's just a vibe. That's what I started off with, Marina saying this movie is a vibe. But uh, right right before the father shoots himself, and he runs into the because the mom's crying outside or whatever, and he like runs in and he's got his outfit and he's like, "Where are you, motherfucker?" And he does like this 360 spin.
That pirouette takes me out every time.
I wrote that pirouette. I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "What was this?
But
This
that's
is
why
the
I
most
think you were saying
insane
that
thing."
Apollonia could have been her own movie. A part of me feels like they did that on purpose because he probably isn't the best actor. You know what I mean? Like they probably knew they needed like another strong storyline so that he could just come in and be himself. But he's always been like this quiet, soft voice
Yeah.
man diva, and so I still like it, even though yes, it's not. I don't know if he should win an award for the acting, but the character is still perfect to me. Like even though it's a little corny in some moments,
She
like
was
where
nominated. I do also felt a little insulted that she was nominated for a Razzie for newcomer. I'm like, really?
Oh, for real?
The- yeah, she didn't win the Razzie, but she was nominated, which I don't know what's worth being nominated and not winning the Razzie, or actually winning the like you're bad, but you're not that bad.
In
Uh,
1985, for her being nominated for a Razzie, that's wild. I
that
mean, but I guess in order to get a Razzie, the movie has to have had some type of commercial success or notoriety, right?
right. Um, because I thought she was pretty good. I mean, and she had to. She basically was holding the film with whatever small plot or again conflict you could want. Like she needed to be strong enough for Morris Day to have his thing and Prince to have his thing, or else it's just wacky bananas. Oh, and then So she's got her Apollonia 6, right? And they're doing the performance, and guys are like throwing dollar bills, and they are in like lingerie. But then it's like I'm like, what kind of club is this? Like that's why I was also getting like huge Coyote Ugly like vibes.
Tasties. They were at Tasties.
It also reminds me of that what's that movie? It came out maybe like it might be like 10 years ago now. Like about like a girl who moves to like become like a singer. Um,
Beauty and the Beast.
it's like the rock and roll something. Tom Cruise is in it randomly playing like a
Oh,
superstar.
Rock of Love.
Yeah, something like that.
Something,
Yeah,
yeah, something.
with
Yeah,
the
I know what you're
girl
talking about.
from the
Ages,
girl who
Rock of Ages.
okay, yeah. It kind of gave me that vibe too. Like, girl moves to the city, ends up in the strip club, and then like so. Yeah, there was notes of it. It makes you wonder if like movies like that had like inspiration from movies like this.
But it
For
wasn't a
sure.
strip club, right? It was just the one guy throwing money at them,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I think
yeah, yeah.
so. I think
It
so. Yeah.
was,
It
and
was. Yeah,
that
it
was
was not
like
a strip club. That was a legitimate performance space.
Weird
that was the
direction.
guy thinking it was a strip club that he was at. Like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. Okay,
Yeah.
outfits. You want to talk about outfits? I don't
We
know
have
other
to.
than
We have to talk about this wardrobe. First off,
blouses.
everything Prince wears in this movie is incredible. It's incredible.
So here's my only issue with the wardrobe. We needed some type, just I'm talking like a micro scene of either him buying this clothes or him like sewing this clothes himself.
Yeah,
Because I need an explanation of like why is he looking so fly and everybody
I thought
else.
the same thing. I was like, 'cause I was thinking this. My thing was, I was okay with the motorcycle because, like I said, I've seen broke dudes show up with really nice motorcycles and cars in life. Like they work whatever job they got to do, they stack their bread, and they buy an old car and fix it up, or they get a used motorcycle from an auction or something, right? But the fact that he has so many nice clothes, and it's like these are like bespoke clothing. You know what I mean? These are like tailored to his body to perfection. So it's like, all right, like where is he getting this dough? Because I know he's not making money at that place. They're probably all working there for generally free, right? Pretty close to free, I would imagine. Um, yeah, maybe not free, but like they're not making a bunch of money. So I did consider that. I was like, man, where is he getting these clothes? But he did when he was window shopping the guitar. There was clothes in that window as well. So I was like, oh, he must buy everything from that shop. That must be like the rock and roll store in town, right?
I
Remember when he was at
guess.
the window
Yeah.
and he's looking at the white guitar? Like there's the mannequins are dressed up in like rock and roll clothes. So I was like, oh,
Like,
that's
what if
the
she
that's the
bought
rock
the
show.
wrong thing, and that's not actually what he was looking at? Because then she like said, and he's like, "What's this?" And opened it is like, "This motherfucker doesn't know what a guitar box looks like." Like,
It was wrapped up, right? It was like a
yeah,
big triangle. It was
yeah, I know. But then like takes the wrapper and the box, and I'm like, you gotta know what this is at this point, right?
Well, yeah.
Like,
At that point, once it was off, the wrapper was off. It was clear that it had to be a guitar, right? But also, it's like she's broke and she spent like her last dime to get this guy something that she knew was like the object of his desire or whatever. And I was like, that's really cool. I mean, obviously, he thought it was cool too. He was very grateful, and he gave her his, you know, hoop
slap.
earring.
I do feel like there's like missing scenes from stuff like that too. Like maybe they just had to rush it. They ran out of time because yeah, like you, you live in you can't afford a place to live and you use your last to buy him a guitar. I don't know. It was just interesting. Yeah, but
She pawned that bracelet or the necklace, whatever it was. She
Yes,
pawned
she
it.
did. She went. Yes, right. She pawned her bracelet or whatever. Right.
could have won
And it's
that
so
from
bizarre.
him.
I start asking Morris Day, right? Like, you know any good pawn shops? I was like, yeah, what do you, I'm like, lady, do you not, yeah, that was wild. I love this movie, guys. I can't wait to
You guys
watch it
act
again.
like it's so weird. Like people in Hollywood do this every day. I've met them. This is what they do. They don't have any concept of money or they don't care where they live. They just want the things.
Yeah.
Oh no, not that. I'm saying like her dealing with Morris Day and Prince, and the kid.
Oh yeah,
The
how she's
just
balancing them all.
her interaction, and I'm like, does she? Because then that's another, I guess, maybe trope as a character. Like sometimes you see her character, like her type of character, using both sides in that sense. But in this side, like
Right.
her
She's
actual
not.
character didn't feel like she knew what she was doing in that. She was, I guess, naive enough to think that she could do both, right?
But that's what
Like,
I like about her character, because you're right. The trope is usually she's like trying to balance both guys and loses them both, or she's just trying to get what she can out of them. But that's not what she's doing. Like she's pretty open. She's like she
yeah,
tells like the Morris Day character, like, yeah, like this is business, right? Because this is the guy I want to be my boyfriend. And like, he doesn't care. He does care. Like she's she's very above board with everybody about her intentions in this movie. So that's why I
right.
don't hate her one bit.
No, I don't hate her at all.
Yeah, I think she did it the right way. But let me go back to the wardrobe department for one quick second. This is the first time I watched the movie where I looked into the audience a lot because I just wanted to see what the extras were looking like. And there's a lot of featured extras because they like keep doing a lot of audience shots to show how they're responding to the music they're watching. And a lot of the fashion in this movie, I don't even know if it feels like it's of its time. Like the '80s was kind of weird, but there's a lot of like weird items in those nightclubs. There's this one guy wearing like a black suit with like a frilly shirt and a bolo tie, like and gloves. He's wearing two white gloves, like some type of like. It was weird. There was all types of like weird outfits and jackets, and people all kind of have like their Jerry curls and asymmetrical haircuts and weird sunglasses on. It's like, and I was like, all these fashions would work today because of how fashion is. Fashion's like wide open now, but in the '80s, like I don't even feel like people were like necessarily wearing it, but everything was kind of like rock star back then. Like Poison and hair metal bands and leather pants and leather everything essentially, leather tank tops. It's like
Es-
everything.
Especially the last concert, the last when it's Purple Rain and it's basically just a concert time of the movie is when they spent the most time going like close up of the audience. It was very eclectic also of the styles, and at times I was like, do they know what they're gonna watch? Because I couldn't quite tell. Like what are you showing? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, they just grabbed whoever was in the street to come be an extra, and then you got like people smoking, and yeah, uh, that I think was very slice of life, I guess, or a snapshot of the mid '80s of who you might bump into at a nightclub in Minneapolis. Is that where we are?
Yep, it is Minneapolis.
So, um, I think more is that style. What is it? It's not a cape. It's an overcoat. Like
Hmm.
I think that's one of the slickest things. Uh, Pokemon. One of
Pokemon.
the slickest things ever look of having the suit, but then he's got like the drape thing over and the shoulder. I was like, man, if I could pull that off, you guys. I mean, it's very pimp like, at least in my mind, and I just think that looks so cool. I mean, I don't
Leo,
not
Leo. That's
yeah.
the Italian in you talking.
It could be. Dondino Spizzini. Just show their. So those were my favorite looks. Was Morris Day for sure. Just that slim looking thing and everything else. Um,
I
So
like all of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Morris Day. I liked Apollonia's leather outfit on the motorcycle. The only one I took a little umbrage with was the performance outfit, and not because she was performing in the lingerie with the overcoat or whatever the heck it was. It was that she left the club wearing it. Like, oh, that's your outfit for the night. Like, that's okay. Like that was that was
she
the only one that caught me.
but she would fit right in at the Met Gala this year, right? Wasn't the Carpenter or whatever was basically just wearing that?
I just feel
Uh,
like that's what women wear now. Women just wear lingerie in the streets,
yeah,
just
yeah.
regular. Those are just clothes.
Lingerie in the streets and suits in the sheets. Is that
That's right.
it's the complete opposite? Thank you, Marina. I appreciate it. Um,
I kind of said my. I guess anything. Yeah, anything Prince was wearing were my favorite. Um, it's different. Like rock star. Liked his look a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's all rock star stuff, man. And what I wonder is how much of an inspiration did he have on the rest of the '80s after that? Like, I mean, I'm used to like the late '80s. You see like what are like Poison and Guns and Roses and all those like big hair bands, Motley Crue. But who was wearing the tight leather pants before Prince? Was that a thing? Like, was you know what I
Eddie
mean? Like, who was
Murphy,
around
isn't
the
that
same time, right?
Eddie Murphy in Raw? Isn't that
Oh,
the whole thing? Like, who wore it first? Was it him or Michael Jackson? Like, it's one of them that had the leather jacket and the leather pants first, and then that was a huge thing. So I feel like, and there you can just say, black artists, right? Again, which is a whole creating a whole look for the time period between rockers and because
well,
Eddie
yeah, it's pretty
Murphy,
close to the same time. Eddie Murphy Delirious came out in '83. So that was a
Delirious,
full 2 years before this was released. At least
and what
1 year before it was shot.
and Michael Jackson's what's the Thriller?
Thriller is '84.
Yeah, so I think Eddie Murphy came out first with that look. Then I forget where he got it from. If I'm not mistaken, he bought that leather jacket the day that he recorded it or something. I forget the exact thing, but it's because everybody I think was saying that he took the look from Michael Jackson from Thriller, but his show actually
No,
and
Thriller was '82. So Michael was at least 1 year before this even, or
oh, okay,
before Eddie Murphy.
okay, so
So maybe it's Michael's. Maybe Michael influenced all the rock stars of the '80s. I don't know.
unless depending when who knows, but yeah, but Eddie Murphy definitely helped as well having that
100%.
um,
100%. And who even knows? Maybe they were doing it before someone filmed it. You know what I mean? Maybe
right.
Michael was the first to film it. I don't know, but yeah, it's
I mean, he got what Landris to do Thriller versus a stand-up show that gets filmed. Probably takes longer to be released. That's another thing,
yeah,
right?
no, yeah,
But
without a doubt. Um, the three black guys with leather pants influenced 10,000 white guys to all do it. That's the name of the game, folks.
I also wonder too, like, if we need to pay tribute to, like the man, I always forget. I don't even know what it would have been called at that time, but just like the queer community back then, I feel like a lot of those outfits probably were created at the balls and like
Paris
in
is
the queer
burning.
community. It just took a second for it to transition for like a straight
Yeah,
man to like feel confident and comfortable. So they
most
definitely
likely.
probably led the way into like that
Right.
metrosexuality where men are allowed to have this fashion. You don't just have to be gay in order to wear these clothes, but I definitely feel like like originally like it was probably gay men that were
And I
Well,
bet
that
you
I
Rick
mean that's
James was rocking it too.
yeah.
Little Richie, right? Isn't that the big one
Little
with
Little Richard.
yeah, Little Richard with the the flowy blousiness as well. I mean, you got Liberace, right? It's a combination. But going about, I mean, the whole thing of Madonna, right? And voguing, we saw
Mhm.
that whole documentary, the Paris is Burning, I think is what it was called. And that
But
she was there, she would see it and basically would take what she saw at the different drag nights of their competing and stuff like that. So there's definitely that is also a community that, especially at that time period. Oh, I don't know if you might have jumped in a little later. The two female bandmates were an actual couple at the time, and
Mhm.
there was a scene of them kissing that was taken out of the film, right?
Oh, I
Even
didn't know that.
you know,
They cracks me up
even
because
even though then we were talking about how Prince had his hand all the way up in that in that thing, and no intimacy coordinator, I guess, back in the 80s of fingers and stuff.
they really crawled so we could walk. Thank you, women in the 80s and up. Like it's
And
yeah.
they also
And if
explain
it's Prince, do you even have a say, or do you? I mean, are you just like I mean, it's Prince. What
Dino
do you
said
want?
Dino also mentioned that they filmed a G scene, a PG, an R, and a
Yeah,
not safe for 17-year.
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, because they before that it was, and that there was maybe even more sex scenes like in a barn and stuff. Because there's a quick clip right of them like
Oh
having sex in the
yeah.
barn, and I'm like, where was this scene? But that it was there was maybe deleted sex scenes that would have made the film X-rated. That so it's like there's a bunch of stuff I guess that got different versions. Well, all right. Anyone else want to bring anything up? If not, we can go.
I have one thing that I've been wanting to talk about for the longest time, and that is, um, do Morris Day and the Time always have those backup dancers like on the other side, just like doing?
Oh, yo. Yep.
yes, that is a part of their act. I've seen Morris Day and the Time perform once. I've never seen Prince perform, unfortunately.
I was thinking about time machines came up at some point, and I was like, going to see Prince like in one of those spaces, I feel would be like up there in what I would. You know what? I would go in the 80s to see Prince.
I was thinking about
Just
the
be a
extras. Like, what a lucky little gig to get to be there because, like, again, I'm so used to like stories like these being biopics played by somebody else, which is probably still fun. Like, I've heard I know people that did extra work like on the Michael Jackson movie recently, and the ones that they've made about Bobby Brown's
okay.
band and things like so. That's fun in itself. Just hearing these classic hits even though it's being played by someone who's not the artist. But
Right.
imagine, like, you got to work, it's probably like a 12-hour day hearing Prince do the song over and over again. And like, it was probably like so cool because they were probably getting paid like $20 to be there, but like, you really got to see Prince perform for free.
I
Like,
got
Well,
that's
one. I was an extra on the set of 8 Mile, and so I saw all the rap battle scenes and whatnot. And the final rap battle scene was some of the most electric. The first, like, it's the first time he did it too. He didn't mess up or anything. It was perfect, for perfect take. We were going wild. Like there was electricity when we were like, it was crazy. To this day, I've never felt anything on a film set like when Eminem spit that last rhyme. It was so insane that the director stopped and got on the microphone after. He goes, "Hey, I just want to thank you guys for the energy you just gave Eminem, and he was giving it back to you guys." He goes, "In all the years I've been as a director, I've never had a moment like that on set before. It
oh,
was it was
wow.
crazy. Like the whole building, you could just feel like energy, like coming off your body. It was insane."
I've got
So
gifts.
apparently, So the music was recorded at a event ahead of time, I guess. It was some charity thing or something like that. So all the music was recorded. So it was playback, but apparently they still played the whole thing. So like there was playback, but they were playing also live, if that make alongside the playback. So not just cutting it and doing fake whatever. Like Prince actually was like, I'm gonna play the actual music as well or something
You
like that.
could
So yeah,
tell. I was wondering about that a little bit. I was like, are they doing playback or is he performing? I'm like, no, he's performing because I could see like the instrumentation, like they
right,
were really playing the
yeah.
instruments.
So they were playing along playback because of and what you hear is what had been recorded before.
Hmm.
But so yeah, so the music is a recording from before. So while on set, there's playback, but they're playing with the playback as well.
Gotcha.
Whether that means all live instruments or not, but I thought it was crazy. They had the drummer even jumping up and down with them. I'm like, man, their choreography was on point. Like one thing is like if you got the music like this, but if you're drumming and doing all these other things, and then you're supposed to like stand and jump and like hit at the same time, I'm like, that's too much. It's too many movements.
That's a
It
lot.
was so cool. Like I watched it this morning, and I was doing my workout towards the end of it, and it was so easy to work out those last three songs. Like I was doing like my little dumbbell like aerobics, and I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Like I when it was over, I had to put on some more Prince on YouTube, just like keep up the momentum.
That's what I did. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we know where all the final thoughts are going.
Hated it. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I really, yeah. I'll start real quick. Yeah, I mean, this is Prince is like such a different like pedestal that this movie in itself it's weird because it's like it's a movie but it's not a movie but it's a music video but it's not a music video. It just it again kind of what I said earlier, like Purple Rain is just Purple Rain and it's on its own thing, and it's almost like they also gave that Oscar to it for its own thing because it went up against the Muppets as a musical, and one of three movies were nominated for best musical. They did it for 1 year only, and it was like we need to get Prince on stage. I think at the Oscars is what they wanted to do. So yeah, uh, this is a classic, and that doesn't mean that it's 100% amazing filmmaking, but it's Prince, and it has great one-liners also, and it's silly and ridiculous, but for having all that music in it as well is mind-boggling. Would I watch this again? Yes. Would I recommend this? Yes. It's an easy recommendation. Like, do you know who Prince is? Yes. Have you seen Purple Rain? No. Well, then go fucking watch Purple Rain, or I won't talk to you anymore. Period. That's it.
Fair enough.
That's my final thought. Go watch Purple Rain.
Right on. Okay, I'll go. Yes, I like this movie. I appreciate it more now than I did the first couple viewings that I've had of it in my life. Not that I ever disliked it. It's just, this thing, it grows on me. And you just got to appreciate Prince more and more now that he's not here, like, unfortunately. Um, will I watch this again? Yeah, I'll watch this again, man. I could probably watch this again with any number of people. Um, I could watch it again for like the silliness of it, and I can also watch it again because it's incredible. The music is incredible, and it's not campy really. You know, um, it's just iconic. You know, would I recommend this to people? Yeah, I would recommend this to anyone who loves music, who's an adult. I don't think this is quite for kids. I know like every kid probably seen it. I didn't see it as a child. I was definitely a full grown adult before I was privy to this. But yeah, I mean, there are a few sexually suggestive things in it. There's a little bit of nudity in it. Some of the themes are in language are a little bit adult. So I would say you got to be at least 18 to watch this. I mean, I know 16 is probably fine, but you know, I I wouldn't want to watch it with my mom. Is all I'm saying. That's my meter for like rating movies. Would I watch it with my mom? Uh, so yeah, that's my take on this thing. I think it still holds up, and it's still a time capsule of the mid '80s and music culture.
Yay. I
Very
can
cool.
go. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Final thoughts pretty much align with my first thoughts. Love this movie. I'll watch it again. It's just one of those where you just like, if it comes on BT, I'm watching it. And I'm super surprised that like, a couple of you hadn't seen it before. So I definitely gonna recommend it, bring it up a lot more. Cause what if there's other people out there? Like I just assumed as strict as I grew up, the fact that I was able to finagle this one, that everybody had seen it. But it's a
Well,
good.
Marina, it's not in black and white or from the 40s or in a different language. So why would I have watched it before?
Maybe, perhaps. But to me, I just thought it was like a classic, um, especially with how famous Prince is too internationally. Like I didn't realize that, yeah, this might be a hidden gem that, especially since it has lower ratings and it's a little different. It's definitely not filled with like great actors. It's filled with popular people creating a story about the lives they live. So I can definitely see like if you really wanted to criticize it, why some people might have steered clear. But I think it's a gem, and I'll definitely watch this again and start to recommend it to others.
Cool, cool, cool.
Right on.
Right on, like Jason always says.
Right
Um,
on.
Final thoughts. Um, yeah, this movie, when it comes to, like I said, the performance and what they're respectively amazing at, which is the music and all that, incredibly amazing. The acting disconnected me, but that's just me. That it felt to me more of like a music video, like a big movie music video, than actual film, just because there's so many plot holes and things that just didn't connect or didn't explain, or they just needed time to pivot to this, or maybe cut this sex scene to put this exposition of the plot. Um, but overall, it's a very enjoyable movie. It's definitely one of those movies that you can either be watching it or you can literally throw it in the background and just have it playing, because he has really cool visuals and things like that. Except for the, women slapping, because there's definitely a lot of that. But if you cut those scenes, really good moments. Uh, and yeah, man, like it's hard for me again to put someone like Morris Day as like the evil person, because he just has such a goofy face. And the way he's acting through the movie and everything, it reminds me of like almost like what Cat Williams was doing in the beginning of his acting career when he started like Friday After Next and things like that. I don't know, but just goofier. And yeah, overall great movie. I can't believe I haven't seen it. I actually, fun fact, I was going to do a play in Second City, a musical of Purple Rain, and I never seen this before, and I ended up not doing it. And now the creator of Abbott Elementary, Quenta, was the person that replaced me for the role, and I was gonna play the kid.
Oh wow.
And I had no idea, because they told me, "Oh, you're gonna play the kid," and like I had no idea the kid was Prince, because I haven't seen this until now.
Do
So
you regret turning the rolls out?
Do I regret it? Man, I think during that time, I actually, when I went back, that was the last time I saw my grandma from my mom's side. So I would say no, because I actually got to have a really cool bonding experience with my grandma. Uh, but yeah, funny enough, it was like it was written by some of my friends and stuff. And yeah, the person that replaced me was Quenta, but she's huge right now. And then on top of that, funny enough, um, also the like my I never seen the actual film, so I didn't even know the kid was Prince because they just told me the kid. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
I had no idea. But if I would have known, knowing how ambitious I am, because they just told me the kid, so I was just like, whatever, it's just a kid. I'm just playing a kid. It's not that big of a deal. Like, and then I realized, no, it's Prince. It's like, what? Crazy.
Well, thanks for, taking one for the team so we can have all this greatness from Quinta.
Wow, that's what we got from this.
I also don't think I don't think that specific role,
It is. It's it. It's the one. Yeah, she's she needs to thank you personally.
Just
Well, then,
wait for her actors on actors. It's gonna drop. It's gonna
She's
be
like,
like,
yeah, this guy stupidly.
what was your turning point? The kid, I was.
well, things all changed for me. Well, then, Steve, have you considered telling us what you got for us next week?
Oh, next week. Oh my God. I am so happy that you asked me because I am next for Cinema Club. And we are done with the categories. Everybody has pretty much gone at least one time. So we're back to free for all. So you get to pick whatever movie you want to pick. And man, I've had some serious debates. To be honest with you, like there's one movie in particular that once I can find a way that we can all watch it, we're going to watch this film. And it's a film that it's from Brazil, that it was amazing. It was nominated, won Golden Globes, I think, and stuff. But anyway, that's not the movie we're gonna watch next week. The movie we're gonna watch next week,
Well, what is that movie?
that
Say
one
it
movie.
after we're done. Just say it
Yeah,
after
I'll
we're
say
done.
it after we're done. I say after we're done.
After you cut, so it doesn't get
Yeah.
confused with our
So the
fans.
next movie we're watching, we're go jumping from the 80s to the 90s. And just like Jason is on a quest to watch the Criterion films or the 1,000 movies you need to watch before you die or whatever, I'm on a quest to rewatch movies that I thought were great when I was a kid. And I want to see them now as an adult to see how good they are. This is a movie that me and my cousin were obsessed with this movie. We watched it in theaters. We couldn't stop recreating these characters. They were characters in SNL, and then they made a film out of them, and it's the one and only. We're going to listen to a lot of disco music because we're going to a night at the Roxbury. What is
Okay.
love, baby? Don't hurt me, don't hurt me, no more.
No more.
There we go.
Yeah. Nice.
All
So
right.
for El Dondino, Marina Watch Left Cry, Jason underscore Alcon, me, Steve the TV. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
Back, 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 back.
Bye bye.